This episode was recorded while Sky was a part of the Soundtrack of Our Lives podcast. She has since started her own podcast, which can be found on Instagram at Beats and Brews Pod. We wish her the best of luck in this new venture.
Hello everyone, we're Sky and Michaela, and today we welcome Guardrail to the Soundtrack of Our Lives. They are a diet punk 5-person band from Chicago, and they're going to talk to us about their new album, which is dropping next month. Very exciting, and their journey and how they create music nowadays. So welcome, we're happy to have you here.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Okay, I have a random question.
Sure.
Because we saw this on the email. It says diet. Is it diet punk or diet?
Diet.
So what's a diet punk?
It's fewer calories. It's better for you. That honestly, so we ended up making that kind of our brand. It just kind of sparked from a joke that we made years and years ago. I was making an Instagram post, making all the hashtags for it. I was putting hashtags, support local music. We're always just like throwing puns around. So I said hashtag low cal music, like low calorie.
Mm-hmm.
And our old guitarist at the time, Mike, said like, "Oh yeah, good. I guess we're diet punk, huh?" And I was just like, "Yeah, wait, that's kind of cool." And we just started rolling with that ever since, and it just sort of became our thing.
Okay.
We have it on shirts now. We have shirts that say Diet Punk that look like the Diet Coke logo, and we had that on koozies for a while too. So it's our thing now.
That's awesome.
That's interesting. I for sure thought it was a mistake, and I was like, but like, what's diet punk? Like, it's punk people that go on a diet together?
Man, yeah, I mean, when I started this band, I was 400 pounds. It's crazy. No, I'm just kidding. No, but we saying that we're a pop punk band, it's just like there's pop punk umbrella is so huge now.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it used to be like, I'm in a pop punk band, so you just automatically think, Blink or Newfound Glory or something like that.
Yeah.
But now there's like such a wide variety of sounds in the pop punk spectrum, so we just sort of made our own, because we sort of like we draw some inspiration from a lot of that stuff and kind of from all over the punk spectrum. We have some songs on the record that are a little heavier, almost like more post-hardcore, and then some that are straight up skate punk, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater shit. So yeah, that's our way of kind of describing what we are.
Yeah. Speaking of the new album, I love it. We were able to listen to it. It's amazing.
Nice.
Very excited for it to come out. So what can you tell us about it? What are you allowed to share?
Nothing. No, I'm just kidding.
What new album?
Yeah, we have a new album coming out. News to us. It was AI generated. So yeah, this album started. It's our first full-length album, which is cool because our band's been around for a long time, and we've just been dropping EPs every few years. So this is our first full-length 12-song record. Pretty much started writing these songs during the pandemic, because what the hell else were we going to do but sit around and work on music? And we just kept writing. And during the pandemic, we put out our last EP, and then we couldn't play a show until 11 months after that. So we had an 11 months late EP release show, and we just kind of kept writing all through that. And then, yeah, we're really stoked on how these songs turned out, because they're a little all over the spectrum. We actually, for the longest time, for most of this band's history, it's just been the two of us here, me and Ken. I'm Kevin, by the way. I don't think I introduced myself. And it's basically been the two of us that were like the main songwriters, but everyone kind of pitched in. Like, some of the songs were brought, the ideas were brought to us by the other members. The single we put out a few months ago, Down at the Bottom, was actually one that our drummer Doug brought to the table. And the one we just put out, Jokes on Me, our bassist Alyssa wrote all the lyrics to that one. And that was one that musically Ken wrote, and Alyssa wrote all the lyrics. So it was a lot more collaborative this time around, which is awesome. So it sort of broadens our sound, but it still all sounds like us. So it's great.
Okay, so where did the name come from?
The name of the record?
The name of the band, sorry.
The name of the band?
Yeah.
So Ken and I have been actually friends since we were like 10 years old. We go way back, and we're 65 now. So it's been a long time.
50 years.
Yeah, it's been a 50-year. It's been great. It's been a great half a century together playing music. But we started playing in bands together when we could, when we were like 16. Started our first band ever together. We've played in multiple bands ever since. The band that we were in before this was kind of just every member of the band wanted it to sound different, and it just was not working. We were like writing songs, we're like, these all sound like different bands, this is stupid, and it just wasn't clicking. So I was like, you know what, I went and saw the band The Swellers, and I was like, why am I not in a band like this? I want to start a punk band. So I just wrote on Facebook, start a punk band. Who wants to be in it? Ken was just like, down. So we started the band. So then we're sitting there trying to figure out what to name the band. We didn't want something like too long or too like, we're not trying to think of something like deep and crazy. And so we just had a bunch of random ideas that we were throwing around. And just one day I just had my iPod on shuffle. That's how long ago that was that we started this band. We had iPods still. And the song Guardrail by Bayside came on. And I just saw the word guardrail and was like, it's kind of a neat word. It's not like a typical thing. And I just went online and looked. There wasn't any bands called that at the time that we could find, at least on Facebook or anything like that. So brought it to the band, like, what do you guys think of this? We're like, well, we haven't thought of anything better, so let's roll with it. And we've been rolling with it ever since. So just happened to be, it happened to be the Bayside named their song Guardrail, and it popped into my iPod.
Okay, so there's not like a deep meaning on the name or anything.
Not at all. I mean, I could lie and be like,
yeah, you could tell us anything. We wouldn't know.
Music is like the guardrail of our lives, bro. It keeps you on the path, man. Like, no, it was just a cool word, and it sounded kind of punk, so we just rolled with it.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, that sounds kind of punk.
Right. So
you said the band formed, or you formed it on Facebook. Can you talk a little bit about how that works, or how it worked for you?
Yeah, I mean, this was back in early 2014, so it goes way back. And yeah, I just posted on Facebook, I'm trying to start a punk band. Who's down? And just to see, because I'm Facebook friends with so many different people in our Chicago scene. So I was just like, all right, we might get some people. So like Ken was the first one to be like, hey, I'm down.
Okay.
Our original lineup, Ken and I have been the only two main members since then. But the original lineup were just dudes that we knew through, one of them went to college with Ken and played in some other bands. One of them went to college with me. And then our original bass player came for one practice, and then he couldn't do anything else after that because he's a nurse and he works weekends. We're like, well, how is this going to work for you, dude?
Yeah.
We do need nurses though. So
exactly. He's still killing it. He's a traveling nurse now. He's awesome. He comes to our shows when he can. He came to one back in December, and we're like, oh my God, you're at a show. This is crazy. You're never at our shows. But yeah, he's great. He was a dude that we went to elementary school with, actually. And then we just picked another friend of ours who played bass for him hot second, and we just met up at a bar, and we're just like, all right, you guys want to do this? And at the time, this is the first band that I've just sang in. I'm primarily a bass player. So I went from like, the position in the band where it's like, no one knows the name of the bass player, to like, now I'm the front man. And I'm like, Jesus, how did this happen? And then, yeah, Ken, what was your like thought process on it?
For just starting the band?
Yeah, for joining, for hitting me up. What made you want to be in a band with me again?
Like Kevin said, the band we were in previously, some of us wanted it to be like hard rock metal, and then others like punk. Like that's where Kevin was leaning towards. And then our singer at the time was, I don't know, I guess a little more pop rock influenced.
He was basically Jason Mraz.
Yeah. There's a lot of extreme, I guess, directions we were all trying to pull it. And when Kevin was like, I want to start a punk band, and I just thought to myself, I'm like, well, besides, like metal or just classic rock kind of stuff, like I also listen to a ton of punk music. And it's like, this makes sense. Like, why am I not writing punk music as well? Like Rise Against, Sum 41, some of my favorite bands. So I was like, yeah, let's do it. And at the time, the older band was kind of split off into Guardrail, and then my other band, The Million Reasons, which is a little more classic rock. So I guess it just worked out that way. It was like this band was being pulled apart and just turned into two different projects.
Right. And I don't know how it took us, 4 or 5 bands to figure out that like we should have been playing punk this whole time. Right.
But I guess the patience has paid off, even though it took 50 years.
You're technically about to die, so what's the point now?
Exactly.
Just gotta go for it now. Yeah.
Yep.
That's our band motto is, what's the point?
That's a good motto.
Yep.
Very
it's actually
inspirational.
The first song on the record is basically that vibe. It's like, well, great, another year, another song, awesome. Great. That's the whole point of the song. It's just like, well, we wrote another song, made it another year. What's even the point?
So you technically knew all the members somehow.
Well, so when we started the band, it was a different lineup of dudes. And then I was also in a metal band for a while too at the time, and that was kind of taken off in the Chicago scene a bit. And then Ken was in his other band. So Guardrail was kind of just like, it existed and didn't really do, but it wasn't like our main focus for the longest time. And then when our bands were kind of starting to, you know, the metal band I was in was kind of not doing as much and wasn't going to be a main thing. I was like, well, I got to like revitalize this and just make this my main focus. And Ken was kind of feeling the same way at the time about his other projects and stuff. So then we kind of recruited some new members at the time, and we had some other people kind of rotating in and out. Our bassist Alyssa actually was in the band towards the beginning. She was in in 2015. She was in the band.
Okay.
She tricked us into joining our band, by the way. She came to a show that we were playing, and the guy that we had playing bass at the time quit, like, you know, four or five shows after the band started. And he basically quit because he wanted his brother to join the band, like take the place of the drummer. I was like, neither of you guys listen to punk. You guys listen to like Alter Bridge. Why are you guys trying to join this band? So he quit, and then we were just like, all right, I'll just play bass for the show. It's fine. So I just played bass and sang. And I made a comment on stage. I was like, hey, I don't normally play bass here, but we need a bass player. So if anyone's interested, hit us up. And Alyssa was there because she was friends with our old guitarist, Mike, and happened to live nearby. So she was like, I play bass. Okay, cool. Like, we've hung out with you at parties and stuff before. You seem cool. Like, yeah, I'll send you some songs and we can maybe meet up in a couple weeks and see if this will work out. And little did we know, she didn't really play bass. She plays cello. That's her main instrument. And like dabbled on guitar, dabbled on bass a little bit, but she never really played bass, never really been in a band really either. And she showed up at our guitarist Mike's house, and she knew how to play the songs that we asked her to play. So we're like, cool, you're in. You did the assignment, you know. And then
does she play cello in any of your songs?
She played cello one time for us at a show. We opened up for Jarrett from Bowling for Soup. He was doing a solo tour, and so they were like, if you guys can do like a stripped down, like acoustic kind of vibe for your set, that'd be great, because having a full-on fast punk band and then him sitting down with an acoustic guitar would be so wild. So she figured out our songs on cello, and we just kind of played stripped down versions of our songs for that. So it was really cool. And I think she did play cello on like an acoustic song that we never even really like fully released. I think we just threw it on our Bandcamp a while back. But yeah, so it's definitely good to have in our back pocket. And then she revealed to us like way after the fact. She's like, yeah, I didn't really play bass. We're like, wait, what? You tricked us. And clearly the trick worked, because since she ended up coming back when we were starting this band kind of back up again, and she just, in the middle of this happening, she happened to show up at a party. We hadn't seen her in a long time, and she happened to show up at a party, so she was fresh in our brain. We're like, dude, you want to come back in the band? She was like, hell yeah. And here we are.
That's funny.
And then we recruited our current drummer, Doug, just through our old guitarist, Mike. They happened to be living nearby each other, and they bumped into each other walking their dogs, and like, hey, our band needs a drummer. I know you're a drummer. So he came, tried out, and it was great. And then Mike had to leave the band, and we just kind of recruited our current guitarist, Zach. We're just friends of his. He plays in another band called the Linden Method that we're friends with. And we were just like, do you want to like fill in for us for a while we kind of figure our shit out? And he was like, yeah. And then he ended up being our fill-in for like 3 years. And then we eventually were just like, hey, you've been in the band like just as long as the other members, and you're just like our fill, like you're just in the band now. So we made the Facebook official. We had the What Are We talk, and here we are. And it's been, so this lineup of the 5 of us has been going since 2018.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So with 5 people, how do you manage the creative differences and how that all works when you're trying to create this one sound when it's 5 different perspectives?
I mean, what's kind of nice is we're all pretty much on the same page, which is good. We all listen to a lot of different music, but we all kind of, being that this band's been around for a while now, we sort of get it, I guess.
Okay.
So it all kind of clicks with us as like where we want to go. We have had a lot of well, I'll write a demo and send it up. What do you guys think? We're like, this is a little too wacky for us. I think you know, we might need to tweak this a bit. And I mean, the thing is too, with our writing process at this point, I remember when Ken and I were in our first band, we were high school kids. We didn't have jobs. We didn't, like, Ken played basketball, but like none of us did any other like extracurricular activities or anything. So we would just spend an entire day just like at our singer's house in his garage, just jamming out. Oh, let's try this idea. Let's try that idea. And we just don't have the time for that anymore. We're all 55 years old. So now we kind of just write on our own. Just like, oh, I have a riff. I'm going to try and demo out a song in GarageBand and figure it out. And we usually write the music first anyway. So we kind of all just bring stuff to the table and then work on it together from there. So the initial ideas are all laid out by us individually. And then we bring it there's a song on our new record called Nostalgia Core. That one was one that Doug brought to the table, and it was a completely different song. There was like a whole fast punk beat part to like to the verses and everything. And when we were just working on it, we realized that the bridge part sounded more like what a chorus should be. So then we took that bridge part and made it the chorus, and we're like, well, let's keep it the same kind of like slower, kind of bouncy tempo the whole time. And we just like reworked the whole thing. So sometimes we'll write a song to be like, yeah, this is good. I'll write some lyrics to it, and it's pretty much done. And then other times we spend a lot of time tweaking it and working on it. And we're all friends too. We all like hang out all the time, so we're not afraid to like be like, hey, this isn't really the right vibe, but I have something better. Like none of us are offended.
Okay.
I mean, I'm not. Ken, are you?
No. I mean, the
And
song
seething over there.
the song "Jokes on Me" that we just put out, when I first brought that demo to everyone, that whole bridge interlude section with the horns and was like a trap beat breakdown. Like it was really off the wall, like just different.
Okay.
And I was
Very
like,
like
this
4 Year Strong-esque.
yeah. At first I was like, this is a cool riff. This is really awesome. And then the more we kept playing it back to like showing, or at least me showing it off to the group, I was just like, this is not sitting. This is not sitting right for, this band.
Yeah.
And then
we're not a breakdown band.
Yeah. And then we went to go work on the songs with Nick Diener from the Swellers, just to like tweak the songs. And then, yeah, a lot of, especially like that song and the Nostalgia Core, it's cool getting an outside perspective to just kind of move, I guess, puzzle pieces around and make it just work. So yeah, I think everyone's very open to tweaking things to make the song better. It's very easy to work with everyone in the band. I can't remember a time where any of us got in like an argument or anything like that about what to do with the songs.
Yeah.
Okay. So that means the band is actually working if you guys don't have to fight each other.
Right.
About what
Exactly.
This is probably the first time in the history of my music career that this has been a thing where like I'm actually just like really good friends with my bandmates and we hang out and we don't butt heads. And like if someone has a problem with something, we just bring it up and go like, yeah, my bad. Like it's very chill and it's such low pressure. So it's great. I learned a lot from being in other bands of like what not to do. So
yeah.
So that helps too.
Okay. So we kind of talk a little bit about the music and the sound, but how do you guys decide what the lyrics are going to be about? Topics and things like that.
Yeah. So I mean, a lot of our music. So I'm always a very like kind of happy-go-lucky, like silly goose, and a lot of our songs almost sound that way too. And then you actually read the lyrics, and you're like, oh, he's like depressed as shit. So like it's sort of I'm like the primary lyricist in the band. So like I kind of take out most of what I'm dealing with like internally. They end up becoming songs because I like that our songs sound really fun. But like for the longest time, our most popular song was a song that's this happy pop punky song that's called Miserable. So like that's our band to a T. It's like very happy sounding music, and then I write the lyrics to write it about just things that I'm going through, and being that we're all senior citizens, I'm not trying to write stuff about like high school,
Yeah.
So I'm not like, oh my god, I don't understand girls and like stuff like that, or like, hey, it's the weekend, let's party. Like we do have a song that's called The Weekend, and it's about a guy dying in a drunk driving accident. It's not about a party at all. So like I try to write the lyrics to be relatable to kind of like what my peers are also dealing with too. And a lot of the songs on the record are about just your mental health situations, and just like how a lot of the world's so fucked up, and we're kind of dealing with what the past generations kind of did to this country and the planet and stuff, and sort of just like like our last record was called Yikes, and it was about turning 30 and being like, yikes, I'm 30, because I just turned 30. I'm breaking it down. I'm not 55 really. No, but I just turned 30 right when we were writing that record, Yikes. I wrote a lot about what we're all kind of dealing with and going through, and I try to make it as relatable as possible. And I try to think like what would be a song that I would want to listen to while I'm thinking about this or dwelling on this. And I sort of roll with that, and I try to not make it super specific or super personal, or even like the one love song on the record, I don't use any actual pronouns except for you and me. Like I don't use she, her, I try to keep it as gender neutral as possible, because like I want someone to hear this and not just think about a girl. I want them to think about their significant other and how you feel like they're out of your league. And
I love that.
so I was conscious of that, because I want people to just be able to see themselves in the songs, and that's sort of where I go. So usually it's just the subject matter is a thought that I had that day, or maybe I had a lyric that I jotted down in my phone, and then I just build a song around that, and I just sort of do it in the moment, kind of. I'm not like sending out, okay, I need to write a song about global warming. Let's write. It's just like I might just have an idea that day about it, and I just wing it. And that's how it goes. Yeah. And a lot of my lyrics too, it's like they're not necessarily autobiographical. So like not everything that I'm writing about has necessarily happened to me, but it's probably based on something that kind of happened to me. You know, like the love song. I didn't really like meet a girl at a show and go home with her and all. Like that's not how I saw that kind of storyline in a TV show, and I was like, oh, that's kind of a cool storyline to work into, to write about, and people can relate to, especially people that listen to our music. They're always going out to punk shows and stuff, so you know, I try to just think about just, you know, how someone listening to this would feel, as opposed to just how I personally am.
Okay, makes sense.
Yeah, I like that. So I believe in 2020 you signed to Open Your Ears Records. So how did that change like the band, or did it?
Yeah, I feel like that was I can't remember exactly the timing, if we were already in lockdown that we were happening.
It was like within that time frame where it was still like we're shut down for a couple weeks. It was like still within that. It was still super fresh.
So yeah, I guess getting signed to that, we were like, well, I don't know about everyone else, but when it was still early and we had really no idea what the timelines were like, getting back to shows, and they're like, we want to sign you. We're like, all right, that's your risk, not ours. we have no idea like if we're going to be able to do anything. But I think once we got like officially signed with them, at least for me, like it gave me a little bit of a creative boost to write some more songs, and that's when I wrote the few demos for what are on Content Now, the new album. So it kind of was like, oh, okay, we got to prove ourselves a little bit, that we could keep writing good songs. So 2020 was a lot of songwriting that kind of popped up, at least when we got signed. It's like, all right, we got to have stuff ready. I guess the last year or two has just been focusing on the new album. I don't know if we've ever planned outside of just having like 5-song EPs. If we weren't signed, we'd probably just keep doing that. So I think a full-length album, I don't know, I guess we thought a little bit more about song packaging, and just instead of just throwing single after single out.
That makes sense.
You just tweaked, you know, like I guess our plans a little bit.
Yeah, speaking of like plans too, like being that we started, because we had the last EP, Yikes, like recorded already. And they heard it and liked it and got in touch with us. That's kind of how it happened. And it wasn't released. We were getting ready to release it in April of 2020, and obviously did not happen. But we were talking with them, and they're like, hey, do you want to like wait a little bit? I kind of want to like plan this out. We'll get vinyl made and all this stuff. We're like, hell yeah, okay. So it ended up getting pushed back. It got released in September of 2020, and it gave us something to kind of like look forward to and do, while a lot of other bands, I'm sure, just like didn't do much of anything. So we were still busy. We were still keeping in touch every week and planning stuff out, planning out videos, getting together to shoot music videos, you know, outside, because the music video for the lead single we shot outside because it was still like that summer. We're like, let's make sure we're outside and not indoors, and like when we're close by we got to wear masks, and also it was still so crazy like that. So like, yeah, it definitely like kept us moving, and I think it kept some pep in our step, which was nice. And here we are, still alive and kicking. So
So what's the biggest difference between this new album and your previous EPs?
I think I think my idea would be that the first 2 EPs we put out were with completely different people. You know, Alyssa was on the first EP, but she wasn't on the second one. And the second one was me and Ken and 3 other people, and a lot of those were just songs we had just written here and there, whenever. So like we weren't writing to put out a record. And then Yikes, we actually wrote to put out. We're like, let's put out an EP, and we've been a solid lineup of these 5 individuals for the last 2 years, and put a couple singles out before that. There was sort of like an introduction to the band, just some standalone singles. And so I think Yikes was, we kind of like dialed into like what our band's supposed to sound like, and got comfortable with that. So then with this record now, I think we were able to just, we were already dialed in, we were already locked in, we knew kind of what our band was. So now we could sort of explore that further and expand on that now, because we dialed it in, and now we can expand. So like there's a lot of the songs on this record that are different for us. Like we've never put out just a straight up acoustic song before, and we have one. And we have a lot of guest vocalists, and we experimented with some like little electronic stuff and synths, and like Alyssa plays trumpet on the single Jokes on Me. Like we were able to like explore further, which was good. Which before we go, all right, let's pump out some songs, let's go. So yeah, it's way more thought out, and I think it shows.
Okay. What is your process when creating music? What's the production process like?
So typically I feel like we work best because we were, grown-ass adults and have, boring 9-to-5s. We don't, and a couple of us are married. Our drummer just had a baby. Like we're all like straight up grown-ups. We pretty much get together on Thursday nights and practice and rehearse, or we get together and just have a band meeting and just discuss, or just hang out or something. And when it comes to writing, since we're not sitting there in a room jamming out stuff, typically we just demo everything out on our computers and stuff. We just program fake drums, plug in our guitars. A lot of it, I'll sit in our rehearsal space with, my little portable setup of a microphone, and I'll just be yelling and screaming and trying to find melodies and sipping on whiskey and trying to figure out what I'm doing. And we kind of write sort of separately, but still together, And then actually we rarely, like, unless we're like, hey, we should probably start playing this song live, even though it's not recorded yet or whatever. We typically don't sit and jam on the songs in the rehearsal space together until they're like done and written and recorded. So for this record, what we did, we recorded Yikes with Nick Diener from the Swellers, which is wild because, like I said before, I went to see the Swellers play and was like, why am I not in a band like this? And now here we are working with him, which is awesome. And Nick's amazing. He's kind of like our big brother in a lot of ways. We look up to him and his songwriting, and we met, we all just sort of hit it off, fast friends. And so we couldn't afford to just like take 2 weeks off of work and pay for an Airbnb and groceries and all. Like there's no way we could do that. So what we did was we went up to his place up in the middle of nowhere in Michigan and just worked on the songs for a couple days back in October of 2021. So we just showed him all our ideas. We had about 30 different ideas that we narrowed down to about 18, 19. Then we narrowed them down even further. And we listened to each one, and he was like, this one's cool. I have an idea for this part. And we just sort of worked on things with him and reworked things. And so we narrowed it down to the 12 songs. And then like, all right, we have the 12 songs. Now let's sit and record. And then we wrote another one after that. Then we ended up circling in that ended up being the song Silhouette. But what we did was we recorded it sort of separately. So we recorded the drums here in studio with our friend Joe Scaletta. So we did all that, and Doug knocked them out in 2 days. It was probably even less than that, because we had the studio for like the entire day, and both days he was done by like 5 p.m. We're like, all right, well, I guess we'll wrap up for the day. We have the studio till midnight, but he's like, well, I did the songs that I've practiced, so let's meet up next week and I'll knock out the rest of them, and did the same thing. Then we recorded the guitars and bass all in right where Ken's sitting right now in his apartment. We did all that ourselves, and then we went back up to Nick at the end and did all the vocals with him, and then just some extra stuff. So it was a long process, but it was nice we were able to work on it when we can, and actually put a lot of thought into it. We weren't just like, okay, we have this much studio time, let's go. We could really like hone in on what we wanted it to sound like. So then here we are with what we have. So
okay, interesting. I have a random question though. I know you're the lead singer, right? Do you also do the screams on the songs?
A lot of them. On our new record, our guitarist Zach, so this is like his first release being an actual official member of our band and not a fill-in for 3 years. He does a lot of like the kind of backup yelling and screaming too.
Okay.
But like on anything before this record, like on our single Screaming Bloody Mary, I scream on that. So anything screaming on that, I've done a lot of that. On the one song, Game Over, Man.
Over? Yeah.
Yeah, all our songs had like joke working titles, and I'm trying so hard to get them out of my head. Yeah, on that one, we have our friend Vince, who's in a band called Glory Days that we're like good friends with. He's doing the screaming in the bridge for that one.
Okay.
And then in Different Universe, we have our friend Alex, who's in a band called Bad Planning. He does the yelling in the bridge for that one too. So, but I mean, I do some hooting and hollering around here.
Okay.
But yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so once you got the final songs chosen and narrowed down and all that, how did you come up with the name for the album?
Oh man, we were so the weekend that we were up there doing the first weekend we were up in Michigan, just writing and whatnot. We were just sitting around at the Airbnb that we had. There's a little outdoor fireplace. We made a fire. We're sitting there. We had some dinner. We're drinking, and we're coming up with all the actual song titles because all the songs had joke titles. Like one of them was called Santa Claus is Coming to Pound Town, and one of them was called Corn Pop Was a Bad Dude, which is one of those weird Joe Biden quotes. And yeah, we're just trying to figure out, okay, what should these songs actually be called? And as we were doing that, we're like, we need to name the album too. Like, oh geez. And I don't remember where exactly it came from, but we were talking about how like not only musicians, we have to be content creators now. We're like, dude, we should just call the album Content. Be like, we're content creators. This is our content. We're like, you know what? That actually kind of works. I think we might just roll with that. And we didn't think of anything better. And we're like, yeah, this is definitely like right up our alley. It just like we never take ourselves seriously. Like the last record was called Yikes. Like our Instagram is all Guardrail sucks. Like we're just we're like, what better way of like a tongue in cheek like joke to make than just call the record Content.
Do people ever think that your Instagram it's not actually your Instagram because it literally says sucks on it?
I hope not.
I would think it's not the band.
I hope that someone's not just like, damn, is this like a hate account? What the hell? What does this band Guardrail do? We've never came across anything like that. I don't think.
Someone commenting like, "Oh yeah, they suck. I hate them."
I think that's why we latched onto it because we're like, you can't say that we suck because we already said we suck. So
yeah,
that's fair.
What can you say that will hurt me?
That makes sense. So what does it mean to you guys being like punk in today's music scene?
Or diet punk, as it would be.
Yes. Or wannabe punks. Man, it's a tough question.
I always feel like punk is just I found we had a long conversation with this up in Michigan while we were all like on mushrooms and just having deep talks around the campfire just about like punk rock in itself. When I kind of discovered it, I was when I was 9 years old or so, I was into like the Backstreet Boys and stuff like that. Like they were actually my first concert. But then I'd see actual punk bands on TRL and stuff. I'd see Blink and Newfound Glory and Good Charlotte and Sum 41 and this kind of punk stuff, and I was like, I like this. And like they were the first bands where like they didn't seem like such larger than life rock stars like friggin' Steven Tyler or something like that, or Freddie Mercury. Like these people were not even human to me as a 10-year-old kid.
Yeah.
And then these punk rock dudes all seem like normal dudes joking around and hanging out. I'm like, oh, like this seems very like genuine. And then I kind of dove into that as a preteen kid, junior high and everything. I dove into all these punk bands, and it just seemed genuine. And I that's why I fell in love with it in the first place, and that's why I like doing it. And I've kind of owe my whole life to just like being in the punk scene and being into punk rock, because I wouldn't have met my fiance had I not been in the music scene. She like was a fan of my old metal band, and we matched on Tinder, and here we are, almost 8 years later, we're engaged and everything. And a lot of my friends, Ken and I bonded over music too. We were both like, dude, you like Weird Al? I love Weird Al. Like, let's be friends now. And so actually just last night, he came over, we watched the Weird Al movie, which is amazing.
It's a wonderful, wonderful movie.
Yeah, I think just being genuine, being true to yourself, being inclusive, and just loving each other has always been like a good punk thing. And just that's always been my vibe. I'm like, I've also learned to be like, if I don't like something, that doesn't mean it's bad. I've learned to be like, this band's not really my thing, but they're pretty good.
Yeah.
And don't hate on people for liking other shit. It's been just a community that I've it's become my church. Is my parents go to Catholic mass every week, but I go to punk shows and I see all the people that are in my community that I like and I'm friends with, and just the whole ethos of just inclusivity, and like, this is where you should come to feel safe and feel yourself. I will never not be a part of it because of that.
That's awesome. I love that.
Yeah, the punk scene for sure here in Chicago seems the most, at least from being in, the rock band, metal bands, all these different genres in Chicago. It's just like the punk scene is the most inviting that I've been a part of. Like everyone's out to support each other. It's not like, I guess my rock band, there seems to be like there's of course bands that are friendly and like want to help each other out, but it seems a bit more of a competition in like the rock or metal scenes. Whereas the punk scenes is just like, hey, let's support each other and help each other get where we want to go, whether that's the actual music or just things that are happening in your life. Like I'll post something, or Kevin or any one of us will post, I don't know, just a life event, even if it's Kevin getting engaged recently. All these people in these other bands are like stoked for you and like happy for you, so it's a good place to make new friends for sure.
Yeah, everyone's kind of like gassing each other up. Like it's great. When one of us puts out a new song, I see all these other bands are sharing our song, and we do the same for our friends. And I'm always trying to like, we do a show every year called Snooze Fest. That's a punk rock pajama party, and every year I have a whole different lineup of bands besides us. Like the only band that has played it twice is our friends Glory Days. Everyone else has only played it once, and we've been doing it for, I think this past year was the 6th year we've done it.
Oh wow.
It's all been different bands because I just want to include everybody, and everyone loves it. And it's funny, like what you said kind of about people trying to compete. I got a lot of that from the other scenes too. And I even said when we started this band, I'm like, we're not playing battles of the bands. Like that's stupid. Shouldn't be competing. Even when we were in like online ones, we're like, hey, vote for us, but also vote for all these bands. Like vote for us today, but then vote for this band tomorrow. Like we're just trying to help each other out. We only played 2 battles of bands ever as Guardrail, and both of them, they were like, okay, here's what the judges will be judging you on. We're like, we don't care, we're just here to party. We're not here to compete, we're here to hang out. And we even said on one of them, like the prize was like, I don't know, $500 or whatever the fuck it was. And we're just like, if for some reason we win, let's just split the money with all the other bands. We all won. Like, we didn't win, we didn't even place. And after they called the first and second place, everyone in the place started going, Guardrail sucks. Guardrail sucks. It was great. But yeah, we shouldn't be competing with each other. We should be all friends and helping each other out. Any band from our scene that goes on and does well, like our friends Action Adventure are blowing up right now, and that's only good for us and every other band in our scene. So like, why be mad or salty about another band blowing up and you're not? That's just opening up more doors for you. So, and I feel like the punk scene gets that more than the other ones.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of, like, just in general in the music industry and musicians, there's a lot of ego and feeling the need of compete. So seeing that at least one side of the music industry is trying to be more inclusive and support each other is like good, because that's something the industry needs technically.
Yeah, I mean, even just 2 days ago, I went and saw Fall Out Boy, and it was, at Wrigley Field, and, it was the biggest like Chicago show imaginable because it was Fall Out Boy, Alkaline Trio, and the Academy. It was like 3 huge like emo pop punk bands from Chicago. I just was all day, like there's however 40,000-50,000 people there, and I kept bumping into people I knew from other bands and everything, and just so many hugs and fist bumps, and one guy bought me a beer even. Just like, yeah, it's just such a warm, welcoming community. I love it.
So what advice would you have for a new band looking to get into that music scene?
There's no room for like ego or shit talking, none of that. And just do your thing, do what you want to do. Don't be like, well, we have to write a song, we have to sound like this. Like, not just do what you want to write, not what you think other people want to hear. And if you're genuinely nice and genuinely having fun doing what you're doing, it's going to catch on. And a lot of the bands that I see out here, a lot of the newer bands too, like we're old dudes now here in the scene, but like there's a lot of band, like our buddy Alex who does the hollering on our song Different Universe. He's 10 years younger than us, and he's got like 2 kids now, which is crazy. But I'm like, man, you're like an infant.
He is 45 years old.
He does not look 23. He looks friggin' like he's 40. But I got to know him just from him being here. He writes the music he wants to write, and Bad Planning was his band that he started, and he would come to shows, always try to talk to us and say hi, give us compliments, and just talk to us. And now we're like good friends with him. And I text him regularly, and we're good buddies. We played at his house a couple months ago. He had a house show in his basement, and so just be real and be nice. And there's people that are around and are seeing some of which are just kind of like, God, that guy's kind of an asshole, and we try to not play shows with that band because we're like, we don't want to be around that energy. And people talk to, also don't try to do the whole like social media buying listens, buying likes, all that like that. We know what you're doing. We can figure it out. There was a band, I'm not going to name names obviously, but like there was a band that we're like, how is this band getting so much Spotify traction? That's great. They just started. They have like 2 songs.
Yeah.
We looked at their profile, and they had they're featured on all these random playlists that was just like cool songs, and it was by some account that was just a bunch of numbers. I'm like, they're buying this shit. They're trying to look bigger than they are.
Yeah.
And that rubbed us the wrong way, and I don't think we've ever played a show with them. So we're like, no, you're trying to like lie to us, like our bassist did about playing bass.
That was a good
Worked
lie
out for her.
That was a great lie. Yeah.
It worked out at the end, so.
God, she recently, the other day, we were talking about something, and she goes, I don't even have any right to even be here right now. We're like, yes, you do. Don't give yourself, the short end of the stick. You're like, no, you earned your spot here. But it's just funny because she's just like, I shouldn't even be here right now.
Yeah. You guys were talking a little bit about like bands being or looking that they're bigger than they actually are, and you guys, seeing all these numbers. Do you guys know how that works a little bit? Because we have come across people like artists that we get sent, and then when we look, it says monthly listeners, and it's just like, I don't know, 100 monthly listeners or something. But then on plays, it's like 500,000 plays or something. And I'm just like, how many times are these monthly listeners listen to the song? Because it doesn't make sense to me, but I don't know if there's any other way to get those
I guess just
numbers. I don't know.
If shit doesn't add up, that's the thing. Like there's, there was a band that we were friends with. We went to high school with their singer, and you could tell that they were buying onto everything. They're buying onto these big shows. They're buying onto. We learned through the grapevine that their singer was featured in a magazine, and we're like, they paid for that. Like. And
I don't like that.
They had on their Facebook, they had like 50,000 followers on their Facebook. And then they did their record release show, and they drew like 30 people. So it's like, where are all these 50,000 fans that you claim to have? Like, but and then they'd make posts, and their posts would get like 20 likes. And you're like, we have 50,000 followers, but these followers aren't real people because they're not liking your posts. So it's like looking out for that kind of stuff. We've come across it a lot, and luckily not a lot. I'd like to say it's less common, at least in our circle, than you would think. But we do see it sometimes, and it just comes across like, what are you doing? Just you're not in this for the right reasons. Like, I don't know, there was a band one time that I filled in for. They needed a bass player to fill in for them, and it was their record release show, and their bassist quit or whatever. So I was like, cool, pay me $50, I'm good. I'll drink your free beer in the green room, that's fine. And, we got to the rehearsal, and the morning of the show, and I knew the songs better than they did, and I was like, what? Okay, so you just, it's a lot of studio magic, and it's a lot of, you just want to be like, I'm in a band, but you don't want to actually be in a band. You just want to be in a band.
You just want to say that you're in a band,
right? You just think it looks cool, and it's pulling chicks or something. I don't know, but it's your bullshit radar kind of in our old age pretty fine-tuned.
So how do you manage being both musicians, and then also you have to be content creators these days? How do you manage, creating content is super boring, but so how do you manage that?
Dude, it's hard.
It's so time consuming, especially when we have 9-to-5 jobs, and then you're like drained at the end of the day. You're just like, I don't want to do this.
But TikTok right now, are you crazy?
Right. It's definitely much easier to make those videos and just posts when we're all together, at least for me. It's like there's more motivation to do it, but it's hard to get together more than once in a week when you got so much else going on already.
As far as like, I pretty much run the social media pages for us, and So I'm usually like I just think of something silly to put in a caption. If I just post a picture of us, like I try to post a couple times a week at least on our Instagram. I think has the most traction on anything, which makes sense because we're all in our early 30s and we know how to work Instagram, and our we're not TikTok people. We still can't figure it out. With TikTok, it's like we'll post something. We're like, oh, this will get some hits. This is funny. And it gets like 100 hits. Then we post like a random clip of like a music video and it gets 1,000. We're like, well, I don't understand. I don't get it. I don't know. I'll probably never get it. But yeah, I mean, it's tricky, but it's just like what I like about our band is that we're all silly geese.
Silly geese.
Silly geese. We're just a murder of silly, and so it kind of fits our vibe. If I'm putting a caption on a photo, just a show flyer or a photo of us playing live, I'll just post a picture and just think of something dumb to write for the caption, and just whatever first comes to me, and then I post that. And I remember, Ken, your dad at your wedding was just like, you run the social media for the band, right? And I'm like, yeah. He's like, dude, I laugh my ass off at everything that you post. I'm like, good. So we got your dad's blessing on social media. Even though your dad's Instagram doesn't even have a profile pic, I see him watching our stories and stuff.
Yeah,
I see it.
Interesting.
But yeah, it's just it's hard. The only thing, it's so hard to be a band now because you can't just like write music and tour. You gotta like also have a presence on social media, and that's weird. So I try to just post when I can, and I'm not trying to go viral. Or I see bands that are like in their late 20s or like pushing our age, and they're like doing the TikTok things where they're like lip syncing to their song. I'm like, oh, you look like an idiot.
Yeah,
I will never do that. The closest I'll get to that is doing an actual music video. But yeah, but that's what gets traction now. So it's like I see there's a band that we're friends with that happened to just coincidentally rehearse 2 doors down from us at our rehearsal spot. They're called Feels Like Karma, and they're pretty good. They're all younger, so it makes sense for them that they're good at it because I see them post on TikTok and stuff. They're posting these silly reels of like they're like, oh, when the drummer won't stop playing, and it's like they start beating the shit out of the drummer, so or like doing the lip syncing to like a sound bite. They're good at it. And I'm like, it's not weird because they're all like 22 and they should be good at it. We should not be good at it. 33, 34-year-old men. We should not be good at TikTok. So like, hell yeah, that's a young band's game. And I'm going to leave it that way because I'm not going to try and, I can't even do that. Like the floss stance, I still can't figure it out.
I don't think at this point it matters if you can do it or not.
There's one time I just tried to do it on stage. I'm like, am I doing it? No? All right.
So what do you guys think about technology using AI to like write music or produce songs and things like that? Do you guys see like an actual future on that? Have you guys ever tried to use AI for your own music? Not to put like professionally out there, but just like to mess around with it. I don't know.
I don't think we've used it for music yet. No, we've like fucked around with things. One of our friends just sent me a screenshot. It was just like, tell me about the punk band Guardrail from Chicago, and it spit out this random thing, and all the facts were wrong except for my name for some reason. That all these other random band members, and it said that the band started in this year that wasn't correct. Everything was incorrect, and I just thought it was hilarious. But
I think using AI to maybe help your songwriting would be cool, like as a tool. But like generating, I don't know. I'm still so on the fence about it since we're also all, graphic designers and are all creative. I feel like it could be useful to maybe spark some inspiration, but to like let AI totally create something instead of using your creativity, I don't know. I guess it feels like cheating almost.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Or it's just like, here's my idea, now you do it, and then
I think using it as a tool like that is just maybe just to kind of spark an idea, and then maybe you can go off of that. I mean, a lot of times I'll hear a song by another band and have a similar idea for that type of song or that feel of a song, and I'll be like, okay, cool, and then I'll just write something that's based on that same feeling that I had. Like I sort of use things like that to sort of inspire me. So why not use that to inspire me? But I'm not going to let it do my job for me. Like,
yeah. Okay.
If I'm not a musician, what am I? Customer service agent Kevin? That doesn't roll off the tongue.
Yeah. Okay. So it's time for our last question. And it is, what is the soundtrack of your life?
the Office theme song over and over and over.
I love The Office. I listen to it
Yes.
to fall asleep.
That was my go-to, and then my fiance and I moved in together, and that doesn't happen anymore. I mean, the soundtrack of my life is basically like I listen to a lot of different stuff, but it's a lot of just what I like about music and why I fell in love with it and why I became a musician in the first place is because you can find a song or a band or whatever that can really match any sort of mood or situation or vibe that you're feeling.
Mm-hmm.
And there's songs that you hear that have a kind of somber tone to them, and that becomes the song that you end up associating with this life event because you heard that song at the right time and it was what you needed to hear and stuff. And that's what I try to write about. That's what I try to write, is stuff like that. And it's summer now, so I'm popping a lot more like pop punk stuff and a lot more skate punk because it's more cheerful. The sun's out finally. I don't know where you guys are at, but here in Chicago we have like 3 months of sun and then the rest of it is winter. And during the winter I'm listening to a lot of fucking metal and just slow, like kind of emo-y shit because I'm at home and it's cloudy and I'm upset.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if that even answers your question, but I hope it did.
No, it does. Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, I guess that kind of sums up the same thing I do too. It's like depending on the seasons, like, and if I want to get nostalgic, I think Kevin brought up Steven Tyler earlier, but that was like Aerosmith was the first band that got me into wanting to play guitar because they were over the top. And it's like, oh wow, they put on like a performance, crazy. And then
dude,
as we got older,
random sidetrack, we saw them together when we were like in high school, and Steven Tyler walks on stage and he's got a pink feathery boa and he has an orange jumpsuit on with just an arrow pointing at his crotch on it. We're just like, what the hell?
It's like,
that's the best stage outfit I've ever seen. I should recreate it.
Yes, you should. But it's like, I'm driving like on a road trip or on a boat or something. It's just like the classic rock nostalgia just like seems to fit. I don't know. And soundtrack of my life. It's tough. It's all over the place. I just hear the to go off the Office theme song vibe of just like it's always sunny in Philadelphia. Just like whenever things are chaotic in that show, they have the like happy I don't even know how to describe that music. It's like the little jingle bells and just like it's all like happy sounding, but it's just chaos around you. That's how life feels. This is like try to keep it together while things are going out of control around you.
And that's why a lot of our songs are about everything being insane, but they also sound light and fun.
Right.
Well, now that makes sense.
Yep.
Okay, so we made it to the end. Thank you guys so much for coming, talking to us, sharing your experiences. So before we go, do you guys want to share any social media, anything else?
Yeah, we so we're at Guardrail Sucks on everything, on the Instagram, on the TikTok that we're still trying to figure out, Twitter, all that. We dropped a music video for our new single Jokes on Me, that is on our label Open Your Ears' YouTube channel. So if you just search Guardrail Jokes on Me, you'll find it. The record drops on the 7th of July. If you're in the Chicago area, that night we're doing a release day party at this bar in Logan Square called The Native. I'm going to be DJing all night. We're just going to be hanging out, drinking, hanging out, just celebrating. And then a week later, we have a record release show at Bottom Lounge. Also going to be playing that weekend in Michigan and Ohio. So check it out if you're in those areas. And follow my dog on Instagram. She's at Gnarly the Ween. We actually just right before I hopped on here, we brought home another wiener dog. So I have 2 dogs now as of an hour ago. So hell yeah. And then just go pre-order the record too. You can get the vinyl, and there's some limited edition shirts on the Open Your Ears Records website, which is OYEREX, RECS. And I think I covered everything.
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah.
Thank you guys.
All righty, man.
Thank
Thank you for having us.
Yes,
this is great.
Thank you.
All right, see you guys.
Bye.
Listeners, go check out Guardrail on all social media and listen to their album when it comes out on July 7th. And make sure to subscribe and follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok at STO Lives Podcast. Thanks for joining us.